They thought you were playing a game. They were so sure of it. When you didn't respond to the first text within 30 seconds, they thought strategy. When you didn't laugh at the joke that works on everyone else, they thought playing it cool. When you didn't fall into the pattern, the flirting, the chasing, the dopamine loop that every other person they've pursued got caught in, immediately they thought you were running a play. A sophisticated, deliberate, masterfully executed play designed to make them want you more by pretending to want them less. And they respected it. They even admired it because game recognizes game and they thought they were watching a master at work. And then the realization hit. You weren't playing. You aren't playing. You have never been playing. The indifference they interpreted as strategy is just you. The standards they read as manipulation are just your standards. The fact that their usual moves bounced off you like rain off stone wasn't because you'd built a strategic wall. It's because you genuinely, authentically, without any performance whatsoever, are not impressed by what impresses everyone else. And that realization, the moment they understood that you weren't playing hard to get because you aren't hard to get, you're hard to earn, that's the moment everything shifted. Because playing hard to get is a game and games end. But being genuinely rare, that doesn't end. That doesn't wear off. That doesn't dissolve when the chase is over because there was never a chase to begin with. There was just you being exactly who you are at a frequency so high that the standard approach doesn't even register. Okay, so I literally had to stop what I was doing to record this because the energy on this one is not playing around. I'm Stella Love, Tarot with Stella. Subscribe if you're new because we stay busy around here. Real quick, only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know how we do. Now, let me get into this because, oh my gosh, I have been waiting to tell somebody this all day. Let me tell you why you're rare. Not special rare. Special is a word people use to be nice. Rare is a material fact. And the fact is this, you operate from a center that most people don't have. Not because they're bad people, because they never built one. Most people's behavior is reactive. They respond to attention with attachment. They respond to charm with trust. They respond to interest with interest, automatically, reflexively, without ever stopping to ask, do I actually want this person or do I just want to be wanted? That question, do I actually want this or do I just want to be wanted, is the question that makes you rare because you ask it every time. You have trained yourself, probably through painful experience, to distinguish between genuine desire and the ego's hunger for validation. And that distinction means that your attention cannot be purchased with flattery. Your interest cannot be triggered by pursuit alone. Your heart does not open because someone knocked. It opens because someone knocked. And when you look through the peephole, you saw someone worth opening for. And most people, when you look through that peephole, are not worth opening for. Not because they're bad, because they're performing. And you can see through performance the way most people see through glass effortlessly, instantly, without even trying. That's what shook them. Not that you're hard to get, that you see through everything, every rehearsed line, every calculated gesture, every accidental touch that was anything but accidental. Every compliment designed to create a debt of reciprocity. They threw their entire playbook at you and you received it the way you'd receive a menu at a restaurant you've already eaten at, politely, briefly, without any intention of ordering. And they stood there holding their best material, watching it land on you like confetti on concrete, and thought, what just happened? Why didn't that work? That works on everyone. What is wrong with this person? Nothing is wrong with you. Everything is right with you. And that's the problem for them. Because they built their entire approach to attraction on the assumption that everyone operates from the same hunger. The hunger to be chosen, the hunger to be seen, the hunger to be validated by someone's interest. And you don't have that hunger, not because you've suppressed it, because you fed it yourself. Somewhere along the way, you did the work that most people skip. You learn to validate yourself. You learn to choose yourself. You learn to sit alone in a room and feel complete, Not happy necessarily, not always content, but complete. Not missing a piece, not looking for someone to fill a gap. And let me be specific about how you got here because it matters. You didn't wake up one morning and decide to be whole. You were broken into wholeness. Something happened, a betrayal, a loss, a season of abandonment so complete that you had no choice but to learn how to be your own source of everything. Love, validation, comfort, safety, you learned to generate all of it internally because the external sources proved unreliable. And the result of that forced self sufficiency is a person who radiates a specific energy that most people cannot name, but everyone can feel. It's the energy of someone who wants company but doesn't need it, who enjoys connection but isn't diminished by its absence, who would love to share their life with someone worthy but is perfectly capable of building an extraordinary life alone. That energy, the energy of chosen presence rather than desperate attachment, is what makes you immune to games. Because games only work on people who need something, and you don't need anything from them. You want, but you don't need. And the gap between wanting and needing is the moat around your castle, and nobody has figured out how to cross it with tricks. And a person who is not looking for someone to fill a gap is the most terrifying thing an emotionally strategic person can encounter because their entire strategy depends on the gap. Without it, they have no leverage. Without your neediness, they have no entry point. And you sitting there, whole, unbothered, genuinely unimpressed by the performance that collapses everyone else, are the living proof that their leverage doesn't work on everybody. And that is what broke them. I keep getting the number one around you. One is independence, wholeness, the number of someone who doesn't need to merge with another to feel complete. But one also carries a doorway. It's the beginning of something. It means your independence is not the end of the story. It's the prerequisite. The universe required you to be whole before it would send you the person who matches your wholeness rather than exploiting your lack. That person is approaching, and they're approaching differently than everyone who came before. I'm picking up the initials V or L connected to this person, and for some of you, it could be an E or a G. If those initials mean something, drop them in the comments right now. Now, let me tell you about the moment the shock hit this person, because it was a specific moment and it rearranged their entire understanding of you. They tried something, a move, a gesture, an escalation that has a near perfect success rate with every other person they've attempted it with. Maybe it was physical, closing the distance, initiating contact, creating a moment of charged proximity that usually triggers a reciprocal response. Maybe it was emotional, a vulnerability play, sharing something personal designed to create an obligation of intimacy in return. Maybe it was logistical, creating a situation where you'd be alone together, engineering circumstances that look spontaneous but are entirely manufactured. Whatever it was, they deployed it with confidence. And you responded with nothing, not rejection, not coldness, nothing that dramatic. Just a calm, unruffled, almost gentle non-response that communicated without a single word. I see what you did there. I'm not offended by it. I'm just not participating. And that just not participating delivered without hostility, without explanation, without any need to justify your disinterest was the most devastating thing anyone has ever done to them. Because it wasn't a no they could work with. A no is still engagement. What you gave them was something far more lethal, irrelevance. You made their best move irrelevant, and they have never recovered. I'm getting strong Scorpio and Aries energy around this person, intensity and pursuit. Someone whose identity is partially constructed around being the one who gets what they go after. Being denied is a foreign experience. Being denied by someone who isn't even trying to deny them, someone who is simply existing at a standard their approach can't reach, is an existential crisis. For some of you, this person carries Leo energy, the performer, the one who's used to being the most magnetic person in any room. And then you walked in and you weren't performing, and the room still moved toward you, not because you demanded attention, because your authenticity has a gravitational field that theatrics can't compete with. And they felt the room shift. And for the first time in their life, they were not the center, and the person who displaced them wasn't even trying. For some of you, I'm picking up physical impressions. Someone conventionally attractive in the way that usually opens every door, a face that's used to being looked at, a body that's used to being noticed, a presence that's used to being the thing in the room that draws focus. And they're used to that focus being enough. Being beautiful has been their primary currency for so long, they forgot it was possible for someone to look at them, register the beauty, and simply not be moved by it. Not because you didn't notice, because beauty without substance registers in your system as decoration, and you are not interested in decorating your life. You are interested in building it. And the person who gets to build alongside you will need to bring blueprints, not just a pretty face. Now, let me tell you what happened after the shock. Because the shock didn't make them leave, it made them obsessed. And this is the part that's going to sound counterintuitive, but it's exactly what I'm picking up. The fact that their playbook failed made you the most interesting person they've ever encountered. Not the most attractive, not the most desirable, the most interesting. Because you represent an unsolved problem, a locked door they don't have a key for. And for someone whose entire emotional strategy is built around being able to get in anywhere, your immunity is the most fascinating thing they've ever come across. But here's where it shifts from fascination to something real. In the process of trying to figure you out, they accidentally started paying actual attention to you. Not strategic attention, the kind designed to find your weakness and exploit it, genuine attention, the kind where you listen to what someone says without filtering it for utility, the kind where you notice the way someone moves through the world without looking for an angle. And what they found when they started paying real attention was a person so layered, so thoughtfully assembled, so quietly extraordinary that the game they were trying to play became embarrassing by comparison. They found someone whose humor is earned, not performed. Someone whose silence carries more intelligence than most people's speeches. Someone whose kindness is selective enough to be meaningful. You're not kind to everyone. You're kind to people who deserve it. And the discernment behind that kindness makes it worth more than any indiscriminate warmth ever could. And here's the thing that terrifies them most. They started liking who they are when they're trying to earn you. The version of themselves that drops the playbook, stops calculating, stops performing, and just exists honestly in your presence. That version is someone they haven't met before. Or rather, someone they buried so deep under layers of strategy and charm and manufactured charisma that they forgot it existed. You didn't ask them to excavate. You didn't issue an ultimatum. You just stood there being real, and the proximity to your authenticity made their performance feel so obviously hollow that they couldn't maintain it. And when it dropped, when the charm went offline and the strategy shut down and they were just a person standing in front of you without a script, they felt a terror and a freedom so simultaneous, it almost knocked them over. Terror because they were exposed. Freedom because the mask had been suffocating them for years, and they didn't know it until they met someone who made it impossible to keep wearing. That's the real shift. They didn't just develop feelings for you. You made them want to be a real person, and they're not sure they know how. And the vulnerability of learning how in front of you, for you, because of you, is the most intimate thing they've ever experienced. More intimate than anything physical. The slow, terrifying process of becoming genuine in the presence of someone who will accept nothing less. They imagine things about you now that have nothing to do with the chase that brought them here. They imagine earning your respect, genuinely earning it, not performing for it. They imagine the moment when your guard drops because they've finally proven they're not running a play. They imagine you looking at them, really looking the way you look at things you've decided are worth your time, and them feeling the full weight of your attention for the first time without any filter, without any strategy, without any game between you. And they imagine that moment being the most terrifying and the most alive they've ever felt simultaneously. Because your attention, when given deliberately, is the most powerful thing they've ever experienced. More powerful than any weapon in their playbook, more powerful than their own charm. A force that doesn't react to manipulation and only activates in response to genuine human substance. And they are now, for the first time in their life, trying to figure out whether they actually have enough substance to earn it. The desire is there, and it's different from anything they've felt before. With everyone else, desire was easy, available, triggered by proximity, and reciprocated by attention. With you, desire has become something architectural. It's not a feeling, it's a project. They are actively, consciously, deliberately trying to become the kind of person who could stand in front of you and not be seen through, the kind of person whose depth matches yours, the kind of person who doesn't need a playbook because they have something better, an actual self-worth presenting. You haven't asked them to change. You haven't demanded anything. You didn't even reject them in a way that suggested improvement was needed. Your simple existence at the standard you maintain has become the most effective mirror they've ever encountered. And what they see in it is the gap between who they've been performing and who they actually are. And for the first time, they want to close that gap, not for you, for themselves, but because of you. The jealousy is consuming, not the petty kind, the terrified kind. They watch other people interact with you and they're not threatened by the ones who are running plays. Those people will fail the same way they failed. They're threatened by the genuine ones. The ones who approach you without strategy, without performance, without a single rehearsed line, just honest, unpolished, real human beings who might actually have enough substance to earn what all their games couldn't buy. Those people terrify them because those people are playing in the league that you actually respond to. And this person isn't sure they can compete in that league. They've spent so long mastering the performance that they're not sure they remember how to be real. And the cruelest irony of their life is that the one person they want most is the one person who will only accept what's real. And the physical dimension of what they feel for you is unlike anything they've known. With everyone else, physical desire was the easy part, automatic, reliable, uncomplicated by depth. With you, desire has become inseparable from admiration. They look at your body and they see the body of someone who doesn't perform for approval. Someone who moves through physical space with the unconscious confidence of a person who is not monitoring how they look from the outside. You push your sleeves up without checking if your arms look right. You sit however your body wants to sit. You laugh with your whole face, including the parts that most people hide. And that physical unself-consciousness, which you probably think nobody notices, is the thing that devastates them most. Because it's the physical expression of the same quality that makes you rare. You are not performing, ever. Not emotionally, not socially, not physically. And a body that exists without performance is the most attractive thing they have ever seen because it's the only real body in a world of poses. They imagine what it would feel like to earn physical closeness with you, not take it, not charm their way into it, earn it through time, through consistency, through the slow accumulation of genuine moments that gradually lower the drawbridge that no trick could reach. They imagine the first time you let them touch you, not a performance of touch, but the real kind, the kind where your body actually relaxes instead of performing relaxation. The kind where you exhale fully because the person touching you has been proven safe through months of evidence rather than minutes of charm. That earned closeness is what they want. And they've never wanted anything that required this much patience before. You are teaching them patience by doing absolutely nothing except being worth waiting for. I keep getting the number 3, creativity, expression, divine timing. Something is about to shift in your creative or professional life that is directly connected to the same quality that makes you rare. Your refusal to perform, to pander, to adjust yourself to what the room wants, that quality is about to become your greatest professional asset. An opportunity that rewards authenticity, a platform that needs exactly what you carry. The number 8 flashes alongside abundance arriving because the world is catching up to what you've always been worth. If this is hitting you right now, drop the words, not a game, in the comments. Like this video and subscribe because what happens in this community is different from anything else on this platform, and I need your energy in here. Now let me bring this home. I need to speak to the part of you that wonders sometimes if your standards are too high, if your unwillingness to be impressed by what impresses everyone else is a flaw, if your inability to fall into patterns that other people fall into easily means something is wrong with your wiring. If maybe you'd be happier if you just lowered the bar and let someone in who ticked most of the boxes instead of waiting for the person who doesn't need a checklist because they just are the thing. Your standards are not too high. They are precisely calibrated to protect you from situations that would waste your time and drain your energy and leave you standing in the wreckage of a connection you never should have entered. Every person who bounced off your standards and called you difficult was telling you in real time that they didn't have what it took. That's not rejection, that's your filter working. And the person who eventually passes through that filter, the one whose substance is heavy enough to register on a scale that measures for depth, not flash, that person will be worth every single night you spent alone wondering if the wait was worth it. The wait was worth it. And it's almost over. You are not hard to get. You are hard to earn. And the person who earns you will do it not by running plays, but by being so genuinely, uncomfortably, unflinchingly real that your peephole shows you something you haven't seen before, a person worth opening for. Okay, I need you to go receive this now. Stop overthinking it. Stop talking yourself out of it. This is coming for you, and you deserve it, period. If this hit like this video right now, share it with your person, subscribe because I am literally always in here dropping something, and comment below because I read every single one and I want to know who this is about. Okay, go. I love you. Bye.